certainly feels like projects and initiatives are second-grade citizens in this operating model world that everybody's talking about. Projects to products kind of indicates we don't want to have projects anymore, right? So imagine this reality. The organization really worked hard to organize around products. It created empowered product teams. Each one of those has a product manager. They have their product goal. They hopefully align with the organization's strategy. You might even have product groups and portfolios. And it's great. Each one of those product areas is empowered to drive outcomes and run with it, fewer dependencies. But what do we do when we do have something that kind of crosses over, when we have some sort of strategic cross-product initiative that tries to leverage synergies across the portfolio or a bigger transformation or a bigger upgrade? What do we do about that? How do we, first of all, have conversations around whether it's worthwhile prioritizing this and carving out the capacity and the priorities for this across the products, but also how do we herd all those products to work together on such a project? Does it even fit? Or do we say, no, we don't do any of these projects in this product world. We don't have projects in a product world. And it sometimes feels like we have people in the organization that got this T-shirt that says, my organization went project to product, and all I got was this T-shirt, and I'm left alone in the dark to try and figure out how to beg product managers throughout the organization to do the work I need for my project or my initiative. So how do we actually approach this? There are a couple of ways to think about this, but let's start with the principles of agility. First of all, we want to avoid prioritization hell. So we want to make sure that this thing is really reflected in the goals that all of the products have. And if the products are organized around those goals, then they should be thinking about prioritizing this work. But that's probably not enough. The next level is to avoid integration hell. One of the things that might happen is if each one of those products is running on their own, we might see a situation where they don't bother to integrate on an ongoing basis, and we still have an integration hell in the end, although we're saying we're working in a product model. There's a name for that integration hell, and it's more reflective of the things we see with lots of water falling together in nature. You want to avoid getting surprised. You want to frequently inspect and adapt an integrated increment across those different products, and you want to organize around the value. While it might be possible to integrate, coordinate, plan across different product teams or even product groups working on something, that requires a lot of scaffolding, a lot of what people might call scaling patterns, and it might not be the ideal thing. It really depends on how much integration is needed. If there isn't much that is needed, maybe lightweight integration patterns can work. But if it's very integrative, it might make sense to actually treat it as a product and use all of the goodies of the product operating model for it, even though it's a transitionary, temporary product, not a term product. So maybe develop a couple of heuristics for identifying initiative that might benefit from this approach. Maybe experiment with it, see if it's working for you. In general, inspect and adapt your way of working. The product operating model is an hypothesis about how you should be approaching products, but you should use product thinking to inspect and adapt this operating model itself and upgrade your operating system as needed for your... So I hope this was a useful perspective about how to deal with cross-product initiatives in a product operating model. Let me know what you think.